I've got hundreds of people drop body fat, build muscle, and generally just look and feel like the dog's bollocks. And today I'm going to use my client Jonathan to show you exactly how you can achieve the same. So when he first came to me, he was in this position, not really feeling that confident, carrying a bit more body fat than he'd want. He's running a business, he was doing shows, he was traveling to different countries. This kind of schedule would be something that most people use to not even get started. So fair play to him. This is him after 12 weeks, losing a few kilos, feeling a little bit better about himself, training consistently, nutrition on point, not too bad. But this is what Johnny Boy looked like after completing his first ever photo shoot, which he wasn't a fan of doing, but after he'd done it, he was a very, very happy man. But here's what makes this transformation different. Jonathan didn't get here despite his lifestyle. He got here because of it. Not putting life on hold, not skipping trips, no hiding from the social side of running his business. We just learn how to make it work around everything. So this is exactly how we did it. Step 1. Get the fat loss working without the lifestyle working against it. And this is where most busy people fall short before they even start. They think fat loss requires perfect conditions, a quiet schedule, meal prepping on a Sunday, no travel, client dinners, and because those conditions never arrive, neither do the results. Jonathan had none of that. What he had was a framework flexible to survive real life. Think of it like building a house in bad weather. You don't wait for a perfect sunny day to start building. I mean, some people do, but you build the structure that can handle the rain as well. So for Jonathan, what that meant was keeping nutrition as simple as possible so he could still stay consistent when he was traveling, or having minimal time to prep his food. High protein, real food as much as possible, and knowing exactly what to do when his situation was far from ideal. A business dinner doesn't need to be a write-off. A travel day isn't an excuse to go off the rails. You just need a plan for those situations before they even happen, not when you're already in them. We kept his deficit moderate, never aggressive enough to tank his energy where he needed to be sharp for work. Because a tired, foggy version of him running his business was never the initial goal, no matter how good he looked. The goal was a leaner, sharper, and overall better version for himself and for his business. That's the bit everybody misses. Fat loss doesn't need to tank your energy. It doesn't have to cost you output. Done right, it runs alongside your life, not against it. And if you're watching this thinking, I quite like Jonathan's results, I want some support achieving something like that. You know, someone to build a perfect plan that's designed specifically for you. Someone to hold you accountable to make sure you're staying on track every single day. Someone to take the guesswork out of the whole entire process so you have nothing to actually think about. Then the link to work with me one-to-one is in the description box. Fill in your details, we'll lock in a call. I'll run you through exactly what we can do for you step by step. I'll get to know a little bit more about you, about your situation. If it makes sense, we can move forward. If not, you'll leave with a good battle plan going forward. Step 2 is staying consistent through the carnage, not in spite of it. You see, Jonathan had show weekends. He had trips where he's eating out every single night. He doesn't want to be the weird one around the table eating chicken and rice out of a Tupperware while everybody else is having a nice steak dinner. He had weeks where we had to compress training into 2 days instead of 4. And he still made progress every single month. Maybe not day to day, maybe sometimes not even week to week, but over the course of a month, it was gradual progression all the time. Because consistency, it doesn't mean, and it doesn't need perfection. It means your floor is high enough that even your bad weeks will move you forward. Think of it like a ship. You don't need to go full speed every single day. You just need to make sure you're always pointing in the right direction. What killed the progress for Jonathan wasn't his busy, hectic weeks. It's what happened after them. It's the all or nothing mindset that turned one bad day into one bad week. That's the main thing that we fixed first. We also built the training around what his week actually looked like, not on a good or quiet week. So when travel hit, when a show ran on too long, when life did what life does, there was always a version of a plan that he could execute. A full session, a shorter session, even just to get his steps in and hitting his protein and calorie goal. So what we did was we had 2 different weeks. We had week A, where he could be consistent with everything. He had a good week, no travel plans, no shows, nothing planned. He could stick to the plan pretty much perfect. But then we had a week B, where he had maybe a couple of shows, or he was traveling for 3 out of the 7 days, right? In them weeks there, consistency would naturally be a little bit more difficult. He's not gonna be able to hit 4 or 5 sessions. He's not going to be able to hit 60 to 90 minutes of cardio. And if we're always setting that bar up here, anything less, you're going to feel like shit. You're going to be less motivated. You're going to think, right, well, I'm meant to be hitting up here, but I'm actually down here. Doesn't make you feel good about yourself. And that's the whole point of having 2 separate weeks. So even if we drop the volume and I'm like, right, Jono, what's actually possible for you this week? Right, well, I think probably 2 sessions I could do and 30 minutes of cardio. Right, well, that's what I'm going to program. right? And then anything after that is a bonus. He ticked them 2 sessions off. He ticked that 30-minute of cardio off. Yes, it was less than a perfect week, but it's what he could do at the time. He was giving me and he was giving himself his all. And that's me as a coach, that's all I could ever ask. But what that did was, even though it was less volume, it carried on that momentum, which allowed him to keep that consistency. And then after that week had finished, we moved back onto week A where he could be perfectly consistent again. And that's how you stick to a plan even when life isn't perfect. There was no scenario where the answer was nothing for Jono. And that ties us into step 3, use the momentum. So here's what happens when you get your body fat down and you keep it there long enough. It starts to feel like your new identity. Jonathan reached a point, and I noticed it, where everything that he was doing, it just became second nature. It reprogrammed him. That's exactly now how he lives day to day. Them old habits that got him looking exactly how he didn't want to look, he couldn't think of anything worse than to actually stick to that right now. He's a new individual. I say this to everybody all the time. Yes, the physique, lifestyle, whatever transformation is good, but it's the individual who you become in the process. And that's what's going to allow you to not just maintain results short term, but long term as well. And that's the real return on investment that nobody talks about or even thinks about. Fat loss for a busy individual, as we all are, isn't about finding more time. It's about looking at the time you have and using it a hell of a lot better than you're currently doing right now. So as I said, if you want similar results to Jono like this, you're not sure where to start, you feel like you can't stick to anything, then drop me a message. I'll run you through exactly how we work. Like I said, if it makes sense, we can crack on. If not, I'll run you through the plan. I'll put a battle plan together for you and you can crack on your own. And if you're not ready for that yet, there's a link to my free training that's going to show you exactly how to lose fat and build muscle at the same time. Anyway, just fill in your details. I'll send it right over. That's your lot. Thanks for coming. Peace.